Hey there, gamers. Welcome back to Cryptic Gaming. I hope you guys have been having a wonderful week. So I want to take a moment to give you some updates to expect in the morning when we log into Skull and Bones. And we're also going to give you some updates of where we're heading with the channel as well. So first and foremost, we're going to have some quality of life improvements in Season 3. We're going to discuss those right after we go over this update. So we're going to see update on Dark Tide Lullaby. They finally gave us a date on the compensation, October 7th. That'll be at the end of this season. So that's going to be that Season 3 patch is what it's sounding like when we get the Season 3 patch. Everyone that's played, whether it doesn't matter how far you progress in this thing. If you bought the premium, you're getting all the premium rewards. If you didn't buy the premium like me, you're going to get the base rewards. You will not get the premium rewards. But it doesn't matter how far you played into it. It doesn't matter if you've made it halfway into the pass or even opened a single box. You're going to get everything in that as a compensation because they dropped the ball on it. They weren't able to get that battle pass working properly. Sounds like they've got some fixes for it in the future. But you're going to get all those items, which means you're going to get deep iron and some masterwork kits and things like that. But you're also going to get that ascended torpedo crate, so you're going to get to at least get one of those. If you were not able to grind that stuff out, you got that to look forward to. They also have an update on the helm compensation, guys. So they did an update on Thursday, which seems like, or past Thursday, not this last Thursday, Thursday before that, where it fixed where our materials that were being picked up and all that kind of stuff were just kind of vanishing. So they said they are going to do some sort of compensation. They did not say what type of compensation, so I wanted to give you a heads up of what I think it'll be based off of past things. So if you come over to the Forgotten Candy, that's right, it's an island over here. This kind of is where your rogue has disappeared to that used to be at the oubliette where you do anything with Mangoten. There is a chest in here that gives you helm wares. Okay, so that is this mysterious chest. Everything that you get is helm related. I imagine that we will end up seeing these types of chests as currency, given to us as a compensation for what was missed out, simply because either you were getting it to get silver or you were getting it doing these things to produce spare parts and stuff. And this is something that can give you a little bit of everything. So I imagine we're going to be getting some chests. It could be those types of chests, or it could be those tooling chests. If you're wondering what I'm talking about on that, that's going to be over here within the season. This seems to be a pretty popular thing that they're giving us here. These used to be like how they did kingpin crates and stuff, and you get like eel sturdy rope and stuff. Now kingpins hit every 100, but you can pick up these different types of chests, and they may end up giving us ascension chests for these types of materials. It's just going to depend on what it is they give us. My guess is it's not going to be the hundreds to thousands of whatever it was that you were hoping to produce. You're probably going to get maybe 20 or 25 of each item, would be my guess. So, not that we've heard for sure, but they don't typically give really big rewards for stuff like that. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, Season 3, we've got a card here that they released here recently on X, and it shows some of the quality of life improvements. Let's pop this up here for you. So they're going to have obviously the armor ascension and wild lock, or the mod locking. What that is where you can ascend your armor, lock in a mod even with your weapons, and then roll the percentages. And we're supposed to see a better roll arc on those as well. The RNG for that's supposed to get adjusted, so we get more variety, not the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over. So we'll see how that works out. But so we're seeing this new hub come in as well. And if you look there in the center, you can see where it has like seasonal journey, faction war, smuggler pass, and then what's being concluded, which is the Requiem of the Lost in this example. But what that is that's going to take a lot of things that's in your calendar as well. All the new content, the seasonal pass, you're seeing your journey as well, and the bosses that are due for that week. It'll be part of the challenges, and as you complete it, it's going to be completing it up there. So that's going to be kind of cool, kind of move everything back into one spot. It says there's going to be some sailing and wind improvements. So now I don't know exactly what they've got in mind here, because we know that they've made it where the gusts, they catch you in a certain direction, it'll actually give you more speed. Some of them don't seem to work, so my guess is they're going to work on those to try to get those working. I'm hoping is what that means, because we've lost actually 2 knots on some of our ships. We've lost about 2 knots off some of the ships. Yes, you can get up to 20, 21, 22 with some of these ships, but most of the time we're 2 knots lower than what we were originally with the wind in our face. So it's just one of those things. We hopefully will see some changes coming in there. We're going to see a lot of combat changes as well in the adventures that's coming up ahead of us here with our journeys into the faction wars, guys. So that's something I think people need to realize. The season 3 is going to be the beginning of a direction change within the game, I believe. We're going to see some new elements coming into the game that's going to be built upon. So one of the things a lot of people talk about is the hand-to-hand combat. Now, what I don't imagine we'll see is hand-to-hand combat like what people are hoping, which will be the crazy parkour stuff for Black Flag, okay, or the Assassin's Creed franchise and stuff. What I imagine we're going to see some, a little better than basic. It'll be better than what we see over on Sea of Thieves, I'm sure, as far as the graphic content and things like that. But understand this is first, foremost, always will be a naval combat game. So anything that they add to it will be an addition to, not an in place of, or a change of complete direction. But they're hoping to get some of these things added in there. So hopefully that means you can eventually board somebody's ship. It could be that's going to require a lot of programming to get it to that. I don't think people realize just how much programming it takes to get those types of updates. But, those are things that are going to be happening in the future. They need to get the base game secure. They need to get the foundation secure on this thing. And we can go from there. So, but it sounds like they've got a lot of really good things coming here in Season 3. I know I'm excited about it. But with that said, we know that there's been some slow content. We still have, we've got a little ways to go before the end of this pass here. We come in, we've got, I believe it's around 29 days left. Let's see. We've got to get to our calendar. Nope, that's not our calendar. Here we go. 28 days. We've got 28 days left in this season. So we still got a little ways to go. Now, there's not a real big high item grind for me currently in the game and a lot of other players as well. But there are some good things you can get. I hope you went and you picked up some of the Phoenix Storm, things like that, mirror furniture there. That's really good. If you've got fire or some kind of effect on you, you can ram the enemy and it transfers it to them, then heal your ship. Those are some really good aspects. Looking forward to Blighted Bastion to get that plague dust. But again, it's one of those things where right now my grind has kind of slowed down. So what I'm looking at is I'm actually looking in the direction of some of the, to me, they're kind of a new style of gaming when it comes to like these immersive horror games. So I had a touch with one of those. It's been last year. And I'd been probably, 5 months out of my surgery. And I put in this alien, I don't remember exactly the title of it, but it was an alien game and it was based off of coming into the ship and you had to rewire some things to enter into a pod and escape before the xenomorph, eats you or kills you or whatever. So it seemed like a pretty cool game, but man, let me tell you, it was one of those creep factors that was way up there and not something I needed to be playing, first coming out of heart surgery with a weak heart. So I shelved it for a while, but I've been getting more into gaming and looking for a little bit more of a direction change with some things. So I will start looking at, we've been doing some live streams and we'll continue live tutorials. But there's really not a lot to do a tutorial on when it comes to this game right now. Yeah, I've got a lot of tutorials. Anything that can be said has been said, several times now. So what I want to look at is a direction change as far as just adding some new style content in. So I think I'm going to start we'll have to see what day it's going to be on. I imagine it'll be a Thursday night, potentially Friday night, because I know there's a lot of guys that get off work. They're just looking for some stuff to do. And rather than going out and paying a bunch of money for some of these games, maybe we can do some testing here on this channel and just live stream it, the creep factor and all, just right there on the stream, and just live reaction to what it is, the game. I mean, some people like a good scare, some people like the puzzles of these things. So I think it'll be something really interesting to add to the channel. So definitely looking forward to that. And here in the next couple of weeks is when we'll get that started. I've been looking at the Silent Hill F, but there's also a couple of other games, and while I don't recall their name at the moment, one of them takes place on the moon. It's more toward, looks like an AI type of a android thing that's fighting you rather than alien type stuff. So I want to look for something that kind of has a little more of a creep factor than just robots. Robots, to me, they've been done in every which way that you can think of. Terminator kind of earns that franchise, which brings me to another game, Terminator 2. If you didn't know, it is out. Now, this is not your typical game as far as what we're used to in gameplay. This is more of an old school for those of us who played back on the Segas, Sega Genesis, the Super Nintendos, and even some of the other Nintendos and things like that. it's going to be reminiscent of that. You know, it doesn't have updated graphics and things, but it looks like a fun game from what I could see. So we may look into some of those game styles as well, just to add some more stuff. Because while I enjoy this game, I'm looking for some ways to expand some of the content. And when I get bored, I like for other games to play as well. So I like to keep one game that keeps me immersed and add some other things to the mix when it slows down. That is one of the things with live action games, guys. So whenever you're talking about this type of game, you're going to reach a point, at least I hope you reach a point where you're caught up on content and you're waiting. If you're not reaching those points, then you're just not playing the game. And that's just what it comes down to. Now, for a lot of the people that are new to the game, you may be thinking, well, there seems to be plenty of content here. Give it about 6 months. You will catch up to us. It's still a great game, especially the fact that you can play it for free. But we have reached a point where we're waiting on a rather large update to enter into the game. This is going to be a new foundation stone for the end game, is what people need to realize. And that foundation has to be solid, or we're going to see a collapse. And I would rather them take their time and get it right. And we're definitely seeing them do that. So that's pretty awesome that they're going to take their time to make sure that they really hammer this game in the way that it should be. And we'll just have to wait and see if it pays off in the end. I know it's one of those things, we see a lot of games that come in and they'll have a slow burn and they'll seem like they're really getting ready to set fire to the gaming industry, just take off, and then it slows back down because something's just not quite right in the coding. And maybe they can get the help that they need for some of the programming. I think that they've got some really cool ideas in the game. What I think is they're having some problems as programmers getting those into the game without there being a lot of bugs. So hopefully they'll bring in some help, and we'll see them actually get this thing back on the right track. When it comes to the hand-to-hand combat, a lot of people are looking for that. Like I've said several times, guys, it's one of those things where this game has first and foremost always been about naval combat on the open seas. That's what it is. And it's what it does. It does really good on that. Now, there are some things that I would like to see changed, like maybe cut out some of these cutscenes. Maybe have a way where we can turn off some of the cutscenes would be pretty awesome, because I don't need a cutscene every time I start a plunder or one ends. We don't always get it at the end of a plunder, but you always get it at the beginning of the plunder, and it usually stops your ship just in the right spot for you to, that's right, be getting blown up or sunk by the time you come back in. So hopefully we'll see them add some aspects to that on this quality of life improvements, as well as continue to fix some of the bugs that we got. But they're getting it back in the right spot. We're starting to hammer in a true destination there, guys. So y'all have a wonderful day, and we'll hop off here, and wish I had more to report on. We'll bring you a video on what's in the store, what's new in the store, and go from there after the update. Y'all have a wonderful day.